Good evening. This is not a test. This is an emergency public information bulletin. In recent weeks, authorities across the country have recorded an alarming increase in what we are classifying as aural anomalies. These are not the sounds of your house settling, nor are they the wind you are accustomed to. The phenomenon begins subtly, often on a stormy night. You might be relaxing in your home, feeling secure, and then you notice the sound of the wind outside is no longer just random noise. It changes. It gains a cadence, a tone. It begins to resemble something disturbingly familiar. It sounds like whispers. This is the first warning. Do not ignore it. What you are hearing is the beginning of a complex psychological process where your own mind begins to turn chaos into a pattern. But this pattern is not of your own making. We must understand the scientific and psychological basis of this phenomenon to appreciate its danger. Our brains are hardwired to find patterns, especially to recognize human faces and voices. This mechanism, known as pareidolia, is what makes us see shapes in clouds or hear words in the hum of a fan. Normally, this is a harmless mental shortcut, but what we are facing now exploits this mechanism as a weapon. The whispers you hear in the wind are your brain attempting to impose order on auditory chaos. But the entity we speak of uses this natural tendency as a backdoor into your consciousness. It does not attack the walls of your home. It attacks the very foundation of your perception of reality. It turns a survival mechanism into a security flaw in your own mind. The first stage is denial. You will tell yourself it's just the wind. You will say you are tired, or that your imagination is playing tricks on you. This is a natural and logical reaction, but the whispers will persist night after night. They will become clearer, and you will begin to notice rhythms that resemble human speech. This is where the true horror begins, not with a loud bang, but with a quiet doubt that creeps into your mind. Am I losing my mind? Is someone out there? This doubt is the phenomenon's primary objective. It aims to isolate you, not just physically in your home, but psychologically within your own mind. The fear of the unknown is the most potent fear, and this entity thrives in the unknown it creates inside your head. If the phenomenon continues, you will enter the second stage, engagement. You will find yourself stopping what you are doing, listening intently at the window. You will try to decipher the whispers, to make out the words. This is a grave mistake. To listen intently is a form of invitation. It tells the entity that you are susceptible, that you are open to its communication. Reports from affected areas indicate that at this stage, the whispers begin to respond to the listener's thoughts. They may whisper your name or mention a secret fear that no one else could know. This is not just a sound. It is an intelligent entity that learns and adapts. The more you listen, the more power you give it to manipulate your reality. Now, we must discuss protective measures. The first and most critical official directive is this: lock your windows. This action may seem simple or ineffective. Sound, after all, can penetrate glass, but the purpose of locking the window is not purely physical. It is psychological. The lock is a symbolic act. It is a physical affirmation of your boundaries. It is a declaration that you refuse to participate in this dangerous game. When you engage the lock, you reinforce the psychological barrier between your safe world and the entity trying to breach it. Do not underestimate the power of ritual and symbolic action in protecting your psyche from unseen incursions. The second protective measure: create counter noise. Turn on a radio, a television, or any other audio source loud enough to obscure the outside noise. The goal is to deny the entity its channel to you. You must drown its whispers in a sea of ordinary, familiar sounds. Choose sounds that bring you comfort, music, the dialogue of an old film, anything that grounds you in tangible reality. This is not just a distraction. It is auditory warfare. You are reclaiming control of your sonic environment, forcing the entity to retreat. Do not allow for silence. Silence, in this case, is not peaceful. It is a vacuum waiting to be filled by the voice of the enemy. Under no circumstances should you attempt to record the sounds. We understand the temptation to gather evidence, to prove to yourself or others that what you are hearing is real. However, electronic devices do not just capture the sound. They can amplify its anomalous properties. There are documented cases where playback of these recordings has induced the phenomenon in new locations, affecting individuals who were not previously targeted. The recording acts as a carrier, a vessel for the signal. By attempting to capture it, you risk becoming an agent of its spread. Delete any recordings you may have made. Do not share them. This is a contagion. The entity's ultimate goal is to breach the final barrier. It wants you to open the window. It will use psychological tactics to achieve this. It may imitate the voice of a loved one, crying for help. It may promise answers to questions you have long held. It will tailor its lure specifically to your vulnerabilities. This is the final test of your will. You must remember that everything you hear from that source is a lie, designed to manipulate you into a single, irreversible action. The barrier between your world and its world is as thin as a pane of glass, and it needs your consent to shatter it. Do not give it. What happens if you fail? What happens if you open the window? We have only fragmented reports, and they are deeply disturbing. The accounts cease abruptly. Those who investigate find empty homes. There are no signs of a struggle, no signs of forced entry. The only thing out of place is a single, open window, often with the wind still blowing through it. It is as if the occupants simply vanished. We cannot say what sees them or what they see. We can only warn you that to open the window is to accept an invitation from which there is no return. It is a quiet, clean disappearance into the sound. This broadcast is a warning. It is a tool for your survival. The threat is real, but it can be resisted. Do not listen. Create noise, and above all, keep the barrier between you and the outside world secure. Your perception is the battlefield, and your home is the fortress. Do not let the whispers turn your sanctuary into a tomb. Stay vigilant. Stay grounded. The wind is not your friend. This concludes our emergency broadcast. We urge you to follow these instructions without question. Your safety and your sanity depend on it.